The Praise of Folly, the funniest book you've never read, and why it still roasts society today. What if one of the smartest men of the Renaissance wrote a book pretending that stupidity was the greatest force in human history? And what if that book turned out to be one of the sharpest, funniest, and most dangerous critiques of society ever written? This is The Praise of Folly by Desiderius Erasmus, a satirical masterpiece published in 1509 that mocked kings, scholars, priests, and even ordinary people, while making readers laugh. More than 500 years later, it still feels surprisingly modern. If you've never heard of this book or thought Renaissance literature was dry and inaccessible, stay with me, because The Praise of Folly might be one of the most entertaining classics you'll ever discover. Picture Europe in the early 16th century. The church dominated intellectual life. Kings ruled with divine authority. Scholars debated endlessly in Latin. And society was full of vanity, corruption, hypocrisy, and self-importance. Into this world stepped Erasmus, philosopher, theologian, humanist, and master satirist. Rather than writing a serious philosophical attack, Erasmus did something brilliant. He gave the microphone to Folly herself. Yes, Folly, the personification of foolishness, delivers a speech praising her own importance to humanity. And through her playful arrogance, Erasmus exposes how foolish nearly everyone really is. Imagine satire so clever that stupidity becomes the narrator. Folly proudly claims that she is essential to human happiness. Without foolishness, people wouldn't fall in love. They wouldn't marry. They wouldn't pursue ambition. They wouldn't enjoy flattery, religion, politics, or social life. In fact, according to Folly, civilization itself depends on illusion. And honestly, she makes a disturbingly good case. This is what makes the book so compelling. At first, it feels humorous and absurd. But as you read, the laughter slowly turns uncomfortable. Because Erasmus isn't just mocking other people. He's exposing universal human weakness. Our ego, our vanity, our self-deception, our willingness to believe comforting lies. Why it feels so modern. This is where The Praise of Folly becomes shockingly relevant. Think about social media. Think about influencers. Think about performative politics. Think about fake expertise. Erasmus was essentially describing a world where appearances matter more than wisdom, where people seek praise instead of truth, where institutions often protect their own power rather than genuine virtue. Sound familiar? 5 centuries before Twitter, Erasmus understood something timeless. Humans often prefer comforting foolishness over painful truth. That's why this book doesn't feel ancient. It feels current. One of the boldest parts of the book is how fearless Erasmus was. He criticized corrupt clergy, superstitious believers, arrogant academics, greedy rulers, self-important philosophers. No one was safe. And yet, because it was wrapped in humor, irony, and wit, the critique was harder to censor. It's the literary equivalent of smiling while delivering devastating criticism. This balance between entertainment and intellectual depth is why The Praise of Folly became an international sensation. It wasn't just philosophy. It was social commentary disguised as comedy. So why should someone today pick up a 16th century satire? Because The Praise of Folly offers 3 rare experiences. 1. It makes you laugh. This is not a dusty, unreadable classic. It's witty, sharp, and often hilarious. 2. It makes you think. Every joke carries a deeper challenge about society, institutions, and yourself. 3. It reveals timeless truths. Human nature hasn't changed nearly as much as we'd like to believe. Reading Erasmus is like holding up a mirror, one that reflects both Renaissance Europe and modern life. Beneath all the satire lies an important philosophical question. Can society function without illusion? Do people actually need a certain amount of folly to survive? Is pure rationality even desirable? Erasmus doesn't offer easy answers. Instead, he invites readers to examine their assumptions. And that's what great books do. They don't just inform, they provoke. If you enjoy sharp satire, social criticism, philosophy with humor, historical classics that still feel relevant, authors who challenge authority, then this book belongs on your reading list. Fans of Orwell, Voltaire, Swift, or even modern political comedians will find something deeply satisfying here. The Praise of Folly isn't just an old book. It's a witty intellectual weapon. A playful but powerful reminder that society often runs on illusion, vanity, and carefully disguised foolishness. And perhaps most importantly, it teaches us that laughter can be one of the sharpest tools for exposing truth. So if you're looking for a classic that is intelligent, funny, provocative, and surprisingly modern, read Erasmus. Because sometimes the best way to understand wisdom is through folly. If this sparked your curiosity, pick up The Praise of Folly and experience one of history's boldest satires for yourself. You may start reading for the humor, but you'll keep reading because it reveals just how little humanity has changed. And maybe that's the funniest part of all.